the Electronic Arts, largest leverage buyout in history, $55 billion. The Crown Prince in Saudi must really want to play FIFA, or and pay a lot of money for. But the video games industry, I felt for a long time that we as a news organization didn't cover closely. We're obsessed with Hollywood, the box office. The video games industry is double the size on an annualized basis, but it's slowing down. And this deal, it speaks to everything that's happening in that field.
Why is it slowing down?
When I was a kid, if I forewent 4 weeks of allowance, and on the fourth Friday, my dad would take me to Game or to PC World or CX and buy me a PlayStation disc. I would pay $20 to $40 for it. And that's what everyone was doing in the late 90s, early 2000s. The industry now is not that model at all. People want free games where within the game you pay for some mods, right? And EA's just not been at the races with that. Andrew Wilson, the CEO, who's going to remain in as CEO once the company goes private, has this thesis that he who wins will be the one that controls a core IP in lots of domains. You see that with other gaming companies. EA just makes games that people buy. And so I think that they're saying, how do we get into sports? How do we get into entertainment, film, movie more broadly? We need some Saudi money, Silver Lake money.
When I see an LBO, I see an industry that is arguably no longer growing, and the private equity, Silver Lake's going to come in here, perhaps put some debt on this balance sheet, lever it up. It's a free cash flowing company, so it can support more and more debt, presumably. But I don't see growth as a necessarily.
Earlier in the summer, when I spoke with Andrew Wilson, that thesis I just explained, I was saying, explain how, what is it you would do different? And I think in this letter that he sent to employees this morning, which I think they've now published, he uses time and time again the words entertainment, sports in and amongst gaming. And I think it's just to take the intellectual properties that EA has and turn them into something other than gaming.
What is the Ed Ludlow history of modern leverage buyouts?
Oh my gosh, that's why I was so grateful Paul started talking about it. I don't know. I mean,
I think everybody should study this.
They should study it, but remember that if you made this idiosyncratic to the video games industry, and forget the mechanism of leverage buyout to an extent. Remember, this comes after Activision with Microsoft. And so the precedent is there to sort of engulf these what were once giants and publicly traded.
The technology juggernaut now. This weekend, folks, a huge raging debate about this. Do you and Caroline Hyde look at your world as discrete and separate from the rest of the Bloomberg world? Or do you buy the story that technology will diffuse into everything else?
No, I mean, the sell side analysts and the portfolio manager on the buy side are infinitely more read in on the engineering intricacies of the AI accelerator or GPU than we ever gave them credit for. That's why when we do the show, I'm always like, guys, this might seem dry or computer science or engineering focused, but this is what everyone's reading about right now.
Everybody got Apple wrong. I went back and looked at the New York Times, everybody else with the Times, I don't want to blame them, April 3rd of this year, Apple's going to die. We're all going to roll over. They're going to fall into the Pacific Ocean, et cetera, et cetera. It's a moonshot up near a record high right now. The new phone, I think, is getting rave reviews. Is it just the chip? I mean, does it just come down to, once again, Apple's done a chip that works?
Apple is highly capable at in-house silicon. The modems, which were once made by Qualcomm, the ones they're doing in-house aren't working that well. The point being that the phone is capable. So whenever they get their act together on software, that handset will be able to do the things that you want it to do. And I am a big believer in with caution, looking at the soft data. The early data from the carriers and from third parties suggests that Apple did exactly what you're talking about. Everyone's buying this new iPhone. Of course they are, because they made engineering updates, and it's been some time since they've changed the form factor. But remember that the stock was under pressure in the first half of the year because of tariffs and an anti-relationship with the president. That's kind of dissipated to an extent.